guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be using this Neat and Tangled S'more stamp set. I love this set. I love s'mores any time of the year. I usually make them in the microwave, so this stamp set is perfect for me. I'm just going to take my images and use my Tuxedo Black Memento ink and stamp them on a piece of Coordination's 110-pound cardstock because I'm going to be coloring it in with my Copic markers. So I'm stamping all three of the main images, the graham crackers, chocolate, and marshmallows. I think these little images are just the cutest things ever. Alright, so after I stamped those, I also took my heat tool and just made sure that that ink was extra dry before I started coloring them because I don't want any of those markers to bleed. I'm starting with my E31 for the graham crackers. I'm just coloring in the entire thing. Then I'll go ahead and take my next darkest color, which is the E33, and add a little bit of shading onto the graham cracker. And you can use whatever colors you want. I just think that these work well. It's kind of that graham cracker color. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the darkest color, which is my E35. Then I'm going back in with my E31 and just shading and blending that out, just so that you don't really see the different colored lines as much. Next up, I'm going to color my chocolate bar. So for that, I'm starting with the E37. And then I'm just going to go ahead and add little bits of shading with the E39. And then go in with the E79 and just add little bits of that darkest brown. And then go ahead and take my E39, blend that back out, and then blend the whole thing again with my E37. Next up, it's the marshmallows. And I'm going to kind of color them so that they look a little bit more toasted. I'm taking the E81. And then my E31. I don't know about you guys, but I don't like my marshmallows burnt. I know a lot of people like them burnt when they roast them, but I just like them lightly toasted. So I took my E35 and then going back in and blending all of that out with the E81 again. So I went ahead and fussy cut those out off camera because I know I didn't want to bore anybody with my cutting. So I'm just using a piece of watercolor cardstock, and then I have this, the Crafters Workshop stencil. Just putting that down with a little bit of washi tape and then using my pumice stone distress ink and going over that whole stencil. I think this is one of my new favorite stencils because I just looked at a pile of cards that I made and I used this stencil on quite a few of them. So I went ahead and took that stencil right off, and I'm just laying out how I want my card to go. So I have all of my little s'mores pieces or characters. I can currently hear birds outside of my craft room window, and I'm not sure what kind of birds they are because it was like negative 17 this morning, I believe, when I looked. So I'm not sure what kind of birds are outside in that weather, but they should probably get warm. It's pretty cold outside. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment I just took a piece of white cardstock that I'm using as my sentiment strip. And then I'm using some black ink. I have the Tuxedo Black Memento ink. I was just making sure that I had my sentiment lined up straight so that it wasn't crooked when I went ahead and stamped it out. So I'm just going to stamp that on there. Make sure I get it inked up really good. I think this was the first time I used the stamp set, so sometimes it takes more than one try. So I'm going to add some adhesive to the back and then place that onto my craft card base. Gotta make sure I have these all lined up the way that I want them to go. And I'm going to add some foam squares to the back of my little pieces. And just take all the little backings off from those. I've also been looking at new Creativation products this morning, everything that has come out and what I want to get. My list is pretty long. Is there anything you guys found that you have to have? So I'm just going to line these up and kind of evenly space them because I am going to be stamping the little plus sign in between each of those characters. So I'm just going to use my Tuxedo Black Memento ink again to stamp that. You just want to make sure when you're doing this that there's no ink on your block that could get onto your image. And then I'm also going to take my 3D foam squares and put that on the back of my sentiment strip. And then I'll go ahead and place that right below those little s'mores characters. Alright, so then I'm going to add a little bit of twine onto my card. And this is my favorite twine. All of the products I'm using I will put below if you're interested in any of them. So I just cut a little bit off and I'm going to tie my bow. And I looped this around the inside of the card and then it'll be on the card so it's kind of on the fold part. And then trim off the excess. And then the last thing I'm going to do, I was going to add some sequins so you can see them on the side, but I really did not like the way that they looked, so I scrapped that idea, and then I'm just adding some glitter with my Wink of Stella glitter pen to each of those characters. And then that's my finished card for today. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button so that you see all my latest videos, and I will see you guys back here next time. Bye everyone!